Well, Todd, thank you for joining the show today. I appreciate you taking time out of your schedule and here to talk all things Camp 24.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Paige. I'm excited to be here.
So obviously you spent 4 years at Tennessee as a defensive back. You're now starting your own camp, Camp 24, in its third year. Is that something you always envisioned yourself doing, like being able to give back to a community that you grew up in?
Well, it's surreal for me, Paige, just thinking about, having the opportunity to do it and being a fan in Neyland Stadium, one of 102 455 when it was 102 455 to then playing on the field and now having an impact in the community post play. It's just an honor and a blessing. And didn't really see myself doing all of this necessarily, but I think the Lord just, put certain things in our lives and opened certain doors for certain reasons. And just to do it for Zaevion and have the Camp 24 and going from 6 to 24 and just my entire story. Didn't really know where it would go or how it would unfold, but here we are today, celebrating our third annual Camp 24 coming up. And wow, I'm just so excited by the growth and most importantly, the support.
In my short time being here in Knoxville, I feel I've noticed either a ton of current players or former players are always involved in camps and giving back to the community in some way. Is that something that Tennessee itself really influenced you to do that or impact you in that positive way?
I think, the number one thing I got from being a Tennessee volunteer and playing for the football team is tradition, right? And what is tradition specifically, University of Tennessee, being a volunteer, what does that mean? And a volunteer means you think about others before yourself and you have to give your time. And based on the platform that you have, you utilize that. And so being a UT, former football player. To me, it was always a dream of mine. But now that I've accomplished that, and my career has taken me to other endeavors outside of football, I still have that itch a little bit for the game. And there's no better way than to, work with the young athletes, the boys and girls that we have here locally in East Tennessee, just to help them perfect their craft, but most importantly, help develop their character.
And you mentioned Zaevion a moment ago. Zaevion Dobson, he went to high school at Fulton High School down the road, but your sophomore season, when he was 15 years old, he tragically lost his life protecting two young girls from gunfire, caught the
Yeah.
attention of President Obama, and it directly impacted you during your time at Tennessee, changing your number from 6 to 24. What compelled you to do that?
Yeah, so December 17th, 2015 was when he passed away, and when I got the news that night, I was with the Berry brothers, Evan and Elliot, who were former teammates of mine at the University of Tennessee, and Eric Berry was one of my favorite
Mm.
players growing up, and he has and had at the time a relationship with, Zavion
Yeah.
and the rest of the Dobsons, and just me playing the safety position. He was my role model, and turned from a role model to basically a leader that I looked up to while I was playing at the University of Tennessee, and we all found out together at the same time, and it struck home. And Fulton Falcons. My mom graduated from Fulton High
Okay.
School. My cousin Trey Davis, Ronald Douglas Davis III, named after my grandfather. He was there at Fulton at the
Mm.
time, and he was a basketball player. And so not only did I change my number, but while he was at Fulton playing basketball, he changed his number from
Oh.
2 to 24. So, I think just whatever platform we had or could utilize to represent Zavion for the heroic acts that he showed. And everybody talks about, what's a hero? And we grow up, and I have young kids, as you know, and, we see all these superheroes on TV, but we talk about a hero, somebody that truly is going to do something for the sake of someone else's well-being. That's what he did, and I didn't want his legacy to end on December 17th, 2015. I wanted it to continue, because that's what he deserved, and he didn't deserve getting his life taken from him. But all I could do was use the platform that I had, which was being a Tennessee volunteer and playing for the football team and being a student athlete. And so, even though the number change was small in my mind, wow, I think it just had such an impact on the community. And Zavion's legacy continues on, even though my career didn't go professionally because of injuries, and his life obviously ended, but his legacy continues.
You were also just a kid at that time too. How did that influence or impact your next 2 seasons at Tennessee, leading to today where we are here talking about it?
Wow, yeah. I mean, I was 20 years old at the time, and kind of making me feel a little old looking back at my age. But I mean, just thinking about where I was then and the opportunities that I had, and nobody knows what their future holds, right? But just trusting in the Lord that whatever was next, that's where I was supposed to be. And although my career ended with my knee injury and I wasn't able to pursue a professional career like my father and a lot of other of my teammates that either are retired now or still playing, I knew that there was something else out there for me to do, and just to think about this is our third year having the camp, and just having the opportunity to be in Knoxville, in East Tennessee, the place where I love so much, and to give back in this way. I think that's why the Lord, put me in the place that I'm in today. And at 20 years old on that day, which was a sad day to hear about the news, to now, to where we can continue to tell his story, because he was an athlete. He would have played
Mhm.
college football, and so suiting up in that 2-4 meant more than just a number. I feel like I was representing him, his family, his legacy, and also the community, right? The
Yeah.
community of Fulton and Knoxville.
How has your relationship with Zavion's mom kind of transformed these last few years in relation to the camp and your initiative?
Yeah, she's been great, and she's on our board and shows so much support, and has just so much wisdom. And I mentioned I'm a parent now, and
Hmm.
just even fathom what it would be like to lose a child, and yet she's just so strong willed and utilizes her platform and his story and the life that he did live, right, while he was here. And oddly enough, in 2024, he's born in 2000, so he would have been 24 this year. And so that has some resemblance, for Camp 24 in 2024, and he also would have been 24 years old. His birthday passed last month,
Hmm.
so it's just amazing just to see how everything comes full circle. But most importantly, that his legacy has continued to live on.
You mentioned it, being a father of two beautiful children. How
Yeah.
has that impacted you or changed your perspective with this camp now being a father?
Tremendously. Number one, just thinking about when I went to all these sports camps as a kid, and I was fairly competitive to say the least, and but just want to learn as much as I can. But just see the smiles on the campers' faces. Whether they're as young as 7 years old, all the way up to 14, getting ready to go to high school. Just thinking about my little girl and little boy, and just wanting the best for them, whether that's sports or not. But most importantly, being a good person.
Hmm.
I think that's one thing that I learned being a student athlete is, my dad taught me at a young age, NFL stands for not for long. You can't play for forever. But you think about the coaches that impacted you, the teammates that you had that made you better, or even if you're not a student athlete, the teachers that you've had or the professors, there's somebody in your life that made a difference for you. And I just try to at least impact one person. If there's 150 kids there, and one kid learns something and ends up being a better person for it, then our initiative has been done, and that's what our foundation tries to do.
You mentioned the initiative part of this camp. Obviously, they're there to have fun, learn drills, but there's also a serious undertone to it. What are you hoping to teach them during this afternoon camp on Saturday?
Absolutely. Well, we aim to inspire, impact, and influence our local youth here in East Tennessee, through fun and safe athletic experiences where they can come and feel welcome and wanted. But I mean, the emphasis is solely focused on character development. So, um, you know, I- when you have a particular sport, whether it's football, basketball, baseball, softball, cross country, there's foundations that build up that sport, right? And what does it mean to be a teammate? What does it mean to be disciplined, to have a good attitude? And so that's what we aim to coach and teach throughout the camp. So we get them there for football, but talk about everything other than football, and just our partnerships with training staff and things of that nature. They take care of that, so I can focus on how can we make these kids better than when they first showed up.
Obviously, your goal is to give back to your community, but how rewarding is it to see your teammates, current players, and the community itself believing in you and helping your camp grow year after year?
Yeah, it's Paige, it's just such a blessing, and the first year, our first inaugural camp, I planned it like 6 weeks before the camp date,
Yep.
and my then fiance, now wife, she was like, "Hey, you need to do it," and so I did it, and just to think about just what was going through my mind then versus where we are now and how we've grown and the support that we've gotten from the community. You can't do it without other people around you. And I think that, when people understood just how much Zavion meant to this community and his story and just that, they can have a say in the future of our youth. That alone should, have people determined to, want to impact them. And so we're just so blessed and honored and privileged to even have the opportunity or the platform. So we're extremely excited,
Absolutely. There's also like a ton of fun that's involved with this.
no doubt.
What's your favorite part of this camp?
Wow, that's a great question. Number one, just seeing the kids compete, and having fun in that, right? And I mean, I remember being a kid and whether it was playing gotcha in
Mhm.
basketball or I forget what it's called, where you duck duck goose, whatever it is, like
Yeah.
just having fun. And number two, meeting other kids, right? Whether they're from the Lonsdale community or North Knoxville, South Knoxville, West, East, getting them together where they can collaborate and talk about what schools they go to and maybe learn something from one another. Number three would be just hanging around the current football players and giving them the opportunity to see, what all is in our community, what
Mhm.
the Knoxville community consists of. I mean, you have players from all around the country. You have players from Massachusetts, California, New York, Florida. I mean, all across the country, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
especially with the transfer portal. And so, just giving them some exposure to what Knoxville, the city, is based on, and allowing the kids to see them outside of football pads where they can tell their story. And some people come from better upbringings than others, and so just allow them to tell how they ended up on campus and what they did to persevere, and that it took more than just a game of football to get them there.
Obviously, registration's now closed, which is a great sign for you. But I guess for people who maybe want to get involved next year, what's the best thing for them to do to make sure that they can sign up before it's closed?
Sure, that's a great question. So we have our website. It's tkjfoundation.com, and it tells you a little bit about just what our mission and initiative is, as well as everybody that's involved and the sponsors that we have and the support that we get. But that's how you sign up and also learn about what's going on currently as well as in the future. We love taking volunteers as well, just people that want to help that may not have kids aged 7 to 14, but want to give back to their community in a big way. So you can just go to our website, tkjfoundation.com, to learn more information, and hopefully we continue to keep doing it. The first year it was just, hey, let's try this out and see where it goes. But I told Zenobia, I said, hey, I really want to keep doing this, and here we are, year three. So
Yeah.
I plan on sticking around a while and just so blessed with the opportunity that my current employer Merrill Lynch gives me an opportunity to do it on the side, because you can't really find that anywhere else. So just so privileged and honored to be in Knoxville where we're rooted, and can't wait for this Saturday.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun, and we'll have some fun behind the scenes during the camp tomorrow on Saturday.
That's
So
right.
it'll be exciting. But yeah, thank you so much, Todd, for your time, and looking forward to Saturday's event.
Absolutely. Looking forward to tomorrow, and looking forward to seeing some competition.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.